It's only October, but every time I walk into the store, I'm reminded that Christmas is just around the corner. As a college student, I have limited time and budget, so my goal as gift giving is to make them easy, economical, and enchanting. My name is Deanna, and I have the perfect gift giving solution for you. Today I will be teaching you how to make toffee blondies in a jar and how to decorate the jar for a beautiful presentation. To begin, you need to clean and sanitize your jars and tops. I did this by running mine through the dishwasher. The jars can be prepared before or after they are filled. Today I will be teaching you one that needs to be done before the jars are filled. This is called decoupage. I will be gluing a letter I cut out of scrap of paper onto the jar. To begin, you need to spread the glue onto the jar, making sure you don't do too thick of a layer that it will cause the paper to wrinkle, or not enough that the glue will dry before you get the letter on, because this glue dries very quickly. Next, you want to firmly press the scrapbook paper design onto the jar. Then you need to put another coat of decoupage glue on top of it to make sure that the scrapbook paper will stay in place. The letter or design that you choose to put onto your jar or the color of the scrapbook paper will vary depending upon the theme. This needs to dry before I mess with it, so I will use a jar that I have decoupaged already. Now the assembly of the toffee blondies can begin. The ingredients that you need are flour, brown sugar, nuts, miniature chocolate chips, toffee chips, baking powder, and salt. The first layer of the jar is 1 cup of brown sugar. When measuring brown sugar, you want to press down firmly to compact the brown sugar. Whenever you pour out the brown sugar, it should keep the shape of the measuring cup. To get the brown sugar into the jar without making a mess, I'm going to be using a funnel. To make nice layers in the jar, you want to use some device to make it flat. I'm going to be using a pounder, but the end of a rolling pin or spatula would work, but they might not make it as flat. You want to make sure not to compact the brown sugar too much, that it will not come out easily for your recipient. Next, in a small bowl, I'm going to combine 1 cup flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm mixing it together before I put it into the jar to make sure that I don't get clumps of brown sugar, of baking powder or salt in the toffee blondies. When measuring dry ingredients, you want to spoon the ingredient into the measuring device and then level it off with the back of a knife. I'm then going to mix it together and then gently spoon it into the funnel. When you are leveling off your flour mixture, you want to make sure not to compact it very much because it's supposed to be nice and fluffy. So this is the next layer in the jar. Just want to even it out. Next layer. Next, I'm going to use 3/4 of a cup of pecans. Walnuts or any of your favorite nut would also work. You want to make sure you are using chopped pecans, and you want to gently pour it into the jar so that you do not disturb the nice layer of flour. And then again, you're going to use your pounder and even out the layer. Next, the next layer is a 1/2 cup of mini chocolate chips. I chose mini over regular because they are closer to the size of the toffee chips. And then again, gently pour it into the funnel to keep from making a mess. And then when smoothing out the chocolate chips, you want to make sure just to do it very gently so that you don't smush the chocolate chips. And then the final layer is the star of this recipe, the toffee chips. And I'm going to be using a 1/2 cup of toffee chips also. And then again, you want to gently pour it in. And since this is at the very top, it's easy to smooth out. Once all of the ingredients are into the jar and they are beautifully layered, the finishing touches can be added to the jar. So I'm going to start by putting the top on and securing it. Now every recipe in a jar for the cookies, brownies, or soup, whatever you made, the recipe needs to go with it so that the recipient knows how to make it. So what I like to do is use a thick ribbon and tie it around the neck of the jar that coordinates with the color that you used in the scrapbook paper. And tie this on. And then also, to finish off the present, you need to have a name tag. And inside I put the recipe and how to make it, and the outside I label it with their name. This makes 15 servings, and each serving is 214 calories and has 13 grams of fat. Another recipe that I like is soup in a jar. This one is nice and clean and can be used for many occasions. The layers in here are a 1/2 cup of Cajun Trinity, 1 cup of split green peas, a cup of lentils, 12 bouillon cubes, and a 1.25 cups of Green Delight panini. I like to keep it simple and use a color of fabric that coordinates with the color of pasta that I chose. And then finish it off with a color ribbon that coordinates with the green peas. And since this is a soup and easy to make, I like to keep it nice and simple, and the name tag is just a piece of paper that one side I will put the name of the recipient and the quantities of liquid that are needed. This takes 12 cups of water to finish. It is 12 servings and has 97 calories and 8 grams of protein. In summary, I have given you 2 delicious recipes that make beautiful gifts. This gift can also be used after the recipe has been made to hold buttons or other small objects, such as I have used this one for popcorn. My resources were bakedbrie.com and delicioso.com. Thank you. Are there any questions?